We're giving them one avenue through real estate investing, the military way, to really give them a new sense of passion and purpose. And that's all it takes to change a life and to change a generation and to change the lives of all those service members.
I have a dream.
With great power comes great responsibility.
I could do this all day.
This is it. Don't get scared now.
They may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom.
Cinderella story out of nowhere.
It's in the hole. That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Welcome back to Capital Hacking. Yes, you're in the right spot. John Edwards here.
What an amazing interview we have for you guys today. We have Eric Upchurch. He is on the podcast of Active Duty Passive Income, ADPI. They also own a mortgage company. They have a real estate company. They're investors. They build homes for military who are homeless. It's amazing.
Okay, so that was a great overview of a lot of the topics that come up and the heart behind all those topics. It's going to definitely, a few people are probably going to cry as they're driving around because Eric really digs into deep. I mean, I'm going to shock you a little bit here, but he really does the best explanation of military suicide that I've ever heard. And we've all heard about the PTSD issues for the last 12, 15 years. And he does a great job of articulating why it happens and why that's part of his motivation.
One of the most powerful stories I've heard, and one of the most powerful, probably the most powerful story we've had on Capital Hacking.
It really is. It really is. So as you go through this, wait till you hear. I'll give you a couple stats because this will make you want to stay to the end to find this out. He joined a small group of people that wanted to help military learn about real estate because he was passionate about it. And it was 16 people. What did he say? How many people were in the community at the time?
Started with 20.
20.
Yep.
20.
Yep.
Well, 2 digits.
Yep.
It's now 63,000 active members with 80% constant involvement, which is world class.
Yeah, and we're going to learn a new acronym today, OATS, over, around, through. I added a little for success. There you go, Eric.
Oh, you
for
put this in there.
Success.
He did not say that.
He didn't say that.
So Eric, there you go. Free of charge. So by the way, remember while you're going through this, he's asking you, what is your mission? Why are you doing this? And when you find that, I think you'll unleash your power. I think you're going to love this show.
Keep your seatbelt on. Let's go.
And we finally got Eric Upchurch on the big podcast. You're here, buddy. Welcome to the stage.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad to be part of the Capital Hacking community here and have an awesome conversation with you guys. The energy is fantastic.
Oh, man. So I had the honor and opportunity to meet Eric through GoBundance as an ambassador and did his interview when he applied. And I just thought the world of this young man. And he was telling me all kinds of amazing things, how he's on the Active Duty Passive Income podcast. He's a co-host or a host of that. He co-authored Military House Hacking, which is a bestseller. And I said, dude, we got to get you on the big show.
And by the way, thank you for what you've done for the soldiers and the way I imagine you're going to give us numbers in a moment.
Yes.
But I imagine you've influenced a lot of hearts and minds. And thank you for that, buddy.
Yes.
That is the mission behind the madness, and living with passion, purpose, and helping military members not only transition from the military, which I can talk about. We actually have you'll be the first ones to hear about this publicly in just a second, which is going to be awesome. But we also help them, become future millionaires or live out their hopes and dreams, whatever they want, and just kind of knocking down those barriers, which we're really accustomed to doing in the military. But when we get out, it can be a real struggle. And so we're giving them one avenue through real estate investing, the military way, to really give them a new sense of passion and purpose. And that's all it takes to change a life and to change a generation and to change the lives of all those service members. So
take it. Just drop the mic. Drop the mic. I mean, I picked up on a lot of things in the quick little time we've been together on air. Lots of frameworks, frameworks around the way you think, the way you talk, probably from your military background, because you guys are acronym crazy. So do you have any acronyms that you just used? You called it?
I just invented one this week. You want me to tell you what that is? OATS. So a big thing for me is, and I can talk about tenacity and grit. Grit's one of my favorite words. I am not the smartest guy in the room. And when I was talking to John before getting into GoBundance, I was like, look, I'm going to be the smallest fish in Champions, but that's exactly where I want to be.
You did. Those are the exact words you said.
I want to be the dumbest guy in the room, right? Is what I said too. I was like, because that's where I thrive. As a service member, I was in special operations unit my entire career in the military, and Where I thrive is when things get hard. So my acronym OATS is over, around, or through. The obstacle is the way. So I think people are built for growth. And it's when you start getting sedentary and lazy and don't have passion, purpose, and motivation that you start to die. So you see it with older people, right?
You are great.
You see it with older people all the time. My grandfather, as soon as he retired, he just started dwindling away. So push. Go do hard things. I just did a 70.3 Ironman with 0 training.
Damn.
And it was kind of stupid. I don't recommend it for anybody, but I believe that, I had a fear of cold water, and I still do. I hate cold water even after that thing. But I went and I did it. And I overcame my mentality, my blocks, everything that I thought was not possible. And it was grit. It was grind. In fact, I posted in GoBros the other day, someone on the bus on the way, and I know I'm sidetracked, but this is really fun for me to talk about. Somebody on the bus from the finish line to transition 1, where we were starting the race, asked me on the bus, what is your superpower? Like, what is your strength? What's your event? I think is what she said. And I said, grit. It's not, I have no training. I have no physical, I don't even want to be here, really, but I'm here. And,
wow.
And so I want to be able to share that with people, because I believe it's when you put something on the calendar that you can, whether it's be 6 months or a year from now, that you can do amazing things. And you got to set bigger goals for yourself. And the bigger you set them, the more you're going to accomplish.
Amazing. Dude. So actually, it reminds me of our interview, the application interview, when you and I were talking and you said, I'm about to do this 70-mile, whatever, Ironman. And I was like, me as a trainer, I've been a personal trainer for over 20 years, and I'm a health coach and coach many teams and athletes and you name it. And I said, what does your training regimen look like? And you said, I'm just going to do it. And I thought you were crazy too. So superpower of grit goes to Eric Upchurch. On that statement, let's talk about active duty passive income. How did that come into fruition?
Yeah. So 2017, buddy of mine, real estate investor, I just started kind of investing in real estate, for figuring it out, right? Kind of the beginning stages, learning, kind of taking some action here and there. And a buddy of mine who I bought a turnkey property from was like, hey, there's this little Facebook group. It's like 20 people or something. And I'll connect you with the guy who started it or something. He's doing Facebook Lives and it's about military and investing in real estate. And since you're military and you just bought one of my turnkey properties, I thought it'd be good for you to connect. So Markian Sitch is the founder and CEO of ADPI, Active Duty Passive Income. And he and I connected, and he was like, whoa. There's other people out there that like this. I was like, man, are you kidding me? I want to learn more. I want to help. How can I participate? So he had already started this course, our Military Real Estate Investing Academy, which is almost 90 lessons now. And it's kind of one of our flagship products.
Awesome.
And we revamped that. We wrote the #1 best-selling book, Military House Hacking, which we give away for free on our website as a PDF download for military members. We also donate it to Veterans Community Project. Every homeless veteran who comes in can learn about good debt and bad debt, assets versus liabilities, credit repair, maintaining and building, all kinds of cool stuff. The VA loan, obviously, there's a whole chapter on how you can use the VA loan, which is buying a house with no money down as a veteran. So anyway, so we started this Facebook group and just started adding content, value. I would be like at my son's baseball game with a script of like what I'm going to talk about today on Facebook Live. And just, okay, Markian said I need to add value. My hands are in quotes if you're listening to this audio. I need to add value to the community. So just talking about my experience. Okay, I bought a turnkey. Okay, I invested as a limited partner on this multifamily syndication. I didn't even know what that was. So I was like, let me learn and explore and teach. Guys, I know I'm talking fast, but there's a lot of content to cover. I love teaching. I didn't choose that. I end up being a leader by default in every job I've had since I was 12 years old, working in the cornfields in Iowa, because I like to try things, break them down into something that's digestible, and spit them out on a one sheet for someone else to learn and apply. And so I think because I constantly do that all the time, people are always asking, can you teach me too? And that translated very well into my military career. It translated very well into real estate investing and helping the military community come up, and we're doing it. And so now we're at massive growth moment in ADPI's history. We just held a conference last fall, ADPI Con, which was a massive success. We had a Medal of Honor recipient who's a good friend of ours come and speak. And that was kind of a turning point for us as far as just being known and being out there on the big stage. But we have lots of employees now. We have systems in place. We have several subsidiary companies now under ADPI, and just really listening to what our community is doing and growing, with intention.
I love it. Eric, so what took you from, leaving the military to being interested in real estate and becoming an entrepreneur?
Sitting in traffic in Los Angeles on the 405, wearing a polo with my W-2 company logo on it, sitting in a maroon Dodge minivan that was rental, and in bumper to bumper traffic going, and just looking left and right. And I deployed 5 times, 5 combat deployments, 6 total, and lost a lot of brothers, buried 6 myself as an NC burial detail NCOIC. We lost 19 while I served, and we were losing people to suicide after. So it's this continual thing where in my head, I'm like looking around in that traffic and I'm going, man, I don't matter. I legitimately do not, in the span, and this is a bit grim, but there's a point behind it. In the span of time, this maybe 100 years that I'm living is such an insignificant blip. Like all the news stuff that's going on, it doesn't matter at all. Nothing. None of it. The fact that I'm sitting here in this car, bumper to bumper, it does not matter at all. The meeting I'm about to go to that might be important or exciting for the company, it doesn't matter at all. And neither does the person next to me in the car that I'm about to run into. They don't matter. And I don't mean to say that in a negative way. They certainly matter to themselves. They matter to their family. They matter to their friends. They matter to just humanity in general, because they're probably helping people and doing good things, right? My point there is that unless I, as a transitioning military member with PTSD or TBI, whatever you want to call it now, just with life experience that made me feel like I needed to do more, I needed purpose and passion. Sure. I'm going to paint a picture for your civilian listeners that's going to be, I hope, impactful. When, say you're on a road, and this is why military members are killing themselves as they transition out. Say you're a sports car driving on the freeway and you hit a really sharp curve and you end up veering off, you can't make the curve, you end up veering off and hitting, hay bales or a wall or a tree or whatever it is, right? You're this super high performing asset, this thing that is just a machine of beauty. You have safety and control well in hand. You're just like, exactly how to grip the road and how to whip around those mountain passes or whatever it is. And then all of a sudden something happens that you lose control and boom, the car hits. Everything inside the car, however, keeps moving forward. The driver keeps moving forward, damage is done. The driver's organs keep moving forward, damage is done. And in the wake, barring they did not die, there could be substantial problems lasting that could change their life forever. Now, the reason military members are killing themselves is because when we're in the service, and I speak from personal experience, it is high speed, low drag. You have safety and control in hand. You know where to be, when, and what uniform. You're getting told what exactly the mission is. You're trained very well at the highest levels, and you're getting awards and accolades, pats on the back, team camaraderie, all of that stuff comes with the job. On top of that, your body is teaching you that dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, all of those cool chemicals that you just naturally get, those are like prime. Like you want those, right? That's why people come back from war and they say, I'd go back. That was fun. I miss it, right? So now a military member leaves the military. The civilian, you go into a W-2 and you're sitting in a cubicle. You have no team. You don't know where to be when. The rules are a little bit loose. There's nothing really inherently risky about what's going on. No one's getting shot at. There's no like real urgency on things. Yeah. No one's giving you awards anymore. There's no more pats on the back. There's no mission and sense of purpose. You're not doing the things to save lives or help your buddies out. You're a one-man show now. You're not getting, and to sum this kind of, and to tie it in, you're not getting those chemicals anymore. There's no more dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin. None of that stuff is happening. But your body still seeks it. Your body is still looking for it. Your body is used to it, has had it for years. And you didn't have to look for it in the military. And your body doesn't just shut that off. So what military members do is they go get arrested. They go get in a fight. They ruin their relationships with their spouses. They will end up doing daredevil stuff, right? Adrenaline-seeking activities. All destructive behavior, or in finality, kill themselves because there's no way to get what they once had back. So it's not that a military member is broken or damaged or like they can't figure out a way to handle it. Most of the time we don't know why we feel the way we do. And what I just laid out is why. That is a biological thing that is happening to us. A chemistry of us inside is really the problem. And so what ADPI is doing in one small way, it gave me sense of purpose. It gave me vision and inspiration, a new mission, camaraderie. The people that I'm surrounding myself with are military members who speak the same language, 2 languages, real estate and military. So it's a great niche, and it provides that sense of purpose for people to do the next thing in life.
Dang, dude. Again, we started off by you dropping the mic. Eric, I've known who you were for 4 years, but I've never met you. So I didn't realize it would be like this. You know, I thought
the most powerful story we've heard.
So powerful. And, you know, I'm thinking of my beautiful brother, Uncle Pete, we call him, Pete McCallan out there. We love you, buddy. And that whole idea of team. I mean, he's been on a Special Forces team for years and in the work. And you're right. I mean, you said the first thing that they lose when they're that, by the way, I'm going to paraphrase your whole story, which was awesome, is the military, and your work in the military is that fast car. You're the person driving the car. You crash, your innards keep going forward because, you know, whatever, damage is done. You leave the military, you still need that adrenaline of taking the tough turn, but it's not there. I mean, I want to make sure that everybody understood your story because it was so powerful. And I'm definitely not doing justice on the paraphrase, but the idea of the fast car, but then the damage is done. Now you're saying they leave the fast military and they're not able to hit on all those cylinders anymore. I thought that was very powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. And it happens without you knowing. Your body the chemistry in your body is continuing on as it had while it served in the military, but it's not able to get the things that it once produced.
That helps me a lot, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you.
By the way, and I just had an epiphany here, and now I understand why Eric did not train to do that triathlon, because it's risky.
It was risky, and it helped you get your adrenaline back.
I asked my mom how she felt about that. My mom was like tracking me on the app, you know, like, did he finish his swim? What was his transition time? What was it? She's freaking out. Thought I was going to die in the lake.
I love it. There's this other thing that you talk about. I mean, you've talked about everything from a death to what matters. I think you said matter happens when you know your purpose and when you're pursuing your purpose. And ADPI has clearly become one of your many purposes now.
Yep.
And then you talked about mission. And in military, you always know your mission. And when we leave the military, we don't always know the mission. Where are we supposed to be? What are we supposed to do? Why are we doing this? And I think about even us in company creation. You know, we're creating a company right now, and that is actually our key work of 2023 as a company. We have multiple companies in our world, and not everybody on the team actually knows how it all comes together, right? And that's our job if we build the company to continue to lay out that mission. Now, I'm sitting here listening to you, and I was joking about acronyms earlier, but it feels like you have a lot of frameworks around what you do. So let's step back. Unless you want to add to anything I just said, feel free to opine. Tell us the structure of ADPI today. What does it do? What is it?
Yeah.
You know.
So ADPI is Active Duty Passive Income is the premier military real estate investing education company in the U.S.
You're so good.
We've got 63,000 members and growing by 5 to 10% per month.
Whoa, wait a minute. You started and there was what, 20?
Yeah, something like that. 20,
and you have 63,000 now?
Right. Yeah. 2 years ago, I just saw a post that I put up the numbers every once in a while. I also published the engagement levels, which is pretty impressive as well. But we had 17,500 2 years ago. We have 3,000 people waiting every day to get in. And we deny them. So that is the kind of the core beginning of the company. We're an education company first. We believe that the barrier to entry is education on almost everything, right? You got to know why you need the thing and how the thing's going to help and what are the results going to be. So for a military member, we can follow SOPs and standards and checklists like nobody's business.
Right.
So what we've created is a niche that was completely blue ocean in 2017. No one was doing this, and which is why we're the leader in this space. We now have a niche of military real estate investors that know, like, and trust each other. There's at least, like no other group, an inherent trust from day one.
Yeah.
Because you serve together, because you've deployed, because you've been through basic training even, whatever your skill level is.
Yeah.
So we're an education company, and we started listening. And what our community, our vast community, by the way, on engagement rate of 63,000 members, we maintain about an 80% engagement rate.
No way.
Between 79 and 83%.
It's great.
So highly engaged. We keep it super clean, no solicitation. You know, everyone has to be vetted military before coming in. We don't allow any marketing or whatever. Anyway, our outreach team they do a fantastic job moderating our group. Okay. Now, what we do every day is watch. We listen. We have full-time military spouses, part of our team, that work in the Facebook group every single day, all day. They are active and they're paying attention. And what we started recognizing was people needed better lending. So now we own a mortgage company that serves military members the best way possible. And that happens to be through an ESOP. It's a retirement plan mortgage company that actually, like, there have been other structures out there that have been ESOPs in the past that are mortgage companies, but they also carry debt. This is the first of its kind where the owners, the founders of this mortgage company, wrote off the debt. So the ESOP retirement company, which is what the mortgage company is, does not have any debt that the owners pay back to the original founders. So it's very unique. All of our loan officers earn pro rata for whatever they produce each year. And of course, we have a 63,000 person group of military members who are always paid on time and always need to move. Right?
Yeah, such a good point.
And we're educating them how to invest, how to do more, how to be. I mean, we have this huge opportunity in front of us in the next 2 years to become the next millionaires of 2008. The people who are multimillionaires right now, they look like geniuses because they bought the equivalent of right now, right? Yeah. So people are freaking out about 7% rates or whatever the heck they are. Who cares? I don't care, because in 5 years, 3 years, 2 years, whatever it is, refi, cash out refi, that's a non-taxable event, and my cash flow goes up. That's how these geniuses became geniuses. No, they're not actually geniuses. They just pulled the trigger and took action. Okay, so that's ADPI. Then we have ADPI lending, which I just kind of briefly mentioned. And then they were saying, well, we need educated realtors across the country, not just realtors, educated realtors that will teach the principles that we talk about in military house hacking.
Right.
And so now we educate realtors across the country. We have a couple hundred, it's a referral brokerage, ADPI Realty. We have a couple hundred real estate agents that we work with that are educated by us to make sure that the military member is buying right. Not just buying a primary residence with a VA loan, but buying because they're going to move in 2 years. That needs the cash flow in 2 years.
Now, hold on. I imagine active duty component. Can spouses of active duty be part of active duty passive income? Active
duty passive income. Great question. Active duty passive income is a play on words, a very good play on words, I think, but a huge percentage, about 30% of our community are veterans and military spouses as well. So we're active duty, veterans, military spouse, National Guard, reserves.
Okay.
Anybody who has served or is serving can be part of our community.
Or spouse, but not us.
And spouse.
I cannot join. Okay.
Unfortunately, you would not be able to unless you're military.
Unless I'm military. I'm not military, so I just admire the military. So now that helps me a lot. So a wife or a spouse in any way of a military person could become an ADPI realtor.
Yes, and we educate them, and then they go off and do their business. None of our business, but we'll send them referral leads per the market. And we don't oversaturate markets. They're very limited, and we have to make sure that they're vetted and good at what they do. So another cool point while we're on ADPI Realty is we actually went through the military relocation professional. There's a designation called MRP for realtors. We went through that training course, and we had heard that it was kind of subpar and kind of looked civilianish, not too military. So we went through it, and I reached out, just cold emailed the director of the National Association of Realtors. And this is one of my superpowers too. I love connecting, going down a rabbit hole to figure out who I can get a hold of and how and whatever. And I contacted them. We were able to completely revamp the education for the MRP designation. So now if you complete the MRP, you actually went through ADPI education. Wow. So that's a really cool thing on that. So that's lending, realty. We have ADPI insurance, which is our cash flow accelerator, teaching people how to use whole life insurance.
Oh, whole life insurance. You do that? Yeah. Wow. I love that stuff.
But I'll tell you this, it is, and everything we do because we are military members, for military members. Our agents who write these policies only write policies that they write for themselves. And they are so aggressive that MassMutual and PenFed couldn't figure out why we were doing them. Because most whole life insurance policy agents or whatever, most of them make massive commissions.
Right.
The insurance industry is phenomenal for making money. The problem we have with that is we wanted to make as little money as possible. And it's hard to find agents who are like, sure, I love your mission and I'll do it and I'll work hard and take as little money as possible that it is allowable and make these policies work for your members. And so we found somebody, and ADPI insurance is a thing now. And we have the cash flow accelerator, which is our version of, of investing in whole life, using it as a vehicle. It's not an investment technically, but, obviously that's what the millionaires and billionaires are doing. So that's an option. And then I think last we have ADPI Capital, which is our Reg A that's coming up. We also recognize, and this is actually a good segue from, I said that acronym earlier, around, or through. All we're doing is breaking down barriers for military members. We recognize, I'm a multifamily syndicator, multifamily storage, mobile home parks, all kinds of stuff, personally anyway, on the side. What we recognize is most of our community who will stay the same age, right? As it grows, it's 25 to 39, typically, the largest portion of it.
That's a good point, yeah.
Yeah. They don't have $50,000. They're military members. They don't have 50 grand, which is usually the bottom threshold to invest in like a real estate syndication, right? And they're not accredited investors. They're making between $30,000 and $150,000 a year, depending on how many years they've been in, right? If they're a colonel or above, maybe they're accredited, but you have to have a net worth of $1 million or $200,000 income projected for the next 2 years. And that is not a military member, right? I was making $46,000 a year as a staff sergeant. So what we did was, so now we know that we can't offer anything under the exemption by the SEC, which is a Regulation D506B or Regulation D506C. So we said, well, what do we have to do? A Regulation A through the SEC is getting pre-authorization instead of an exemption. So now we've spent over a year and 6 figures of our own money to create a fund that will allow military members to invest as little as $500 with a great return. They do not have to be accredited, and we can advertise as widely as we want. So huge headache for us. You can imagine the accounting on, 1,000 K1s.
Yeah,
at the end
that's
of the
a
year.
lot.
We're taking on a big thing.
Is it open now?
Maybe by the time this episode comes out.
So yeah, Josh and I were just actually talking about crowdfunding where people aren't accredited. I think that's the term. Is that correct? Crowdfunding?
Yeah, non-accredited. Yeah, crowdfunding. Well, any syndication is technically, that's kind of an umbrella term. You're just pooling money, but you do anytime you raise money from a passive investor on a single family or multifamily or whatever, you need to fall under an SEC exemption because you're offering a security. If they're actively involved in the deal as a general partner, then you don't. But generally speaking, anytime you have a passive investor, you're offering a security and you have to fall under an
just
exemption.
to clarify, because you guys are pretty good, you're both explaining things really well. There is a category, the law that allows for something called a crowd fund, CF regulation. It's called CF.
Yeah.
And it has a lot more restrictions than what Eric is doing. Reg A allows him to do like $75 million fund, correct?
Yeah.
Whereas crowd fund is $5 million. And it has some other requirements. So Reg A, $500, I'm surprised you're going that low, not because I don't want you to, but even the cost related to each investor, you might eat up that 500. That's the only risk, right?
We've had a lot of obstacles, including the portals that people use to raise capital don't offer Reg A's a lot. So we've had to work with them to change their software to get this to work out to the point where someone can come in and the SEC didn't even want us to use, like, how you say soft commitments. You have somebody kind of sign up and fill out the investor questionnaire. The SEC didn't even want us. I feel like us maybe because we're military and they're just like super protective or something. I don't know, but it's just my personal opinion. But they wanted us to say pre-register, and so that's fine. Okay, fine, pre-register. So most of our pre-registrants are averaging around an $8,000 investment.
Okay,
so there are going to be $500 investors here, which we encourage. That's why we're doing this, and we're willing to take that financial hit if that person wants to come in and it's going to change their life.
So great. You're following the SEC rules. Yeah, all that's great. You're about to launch this fund. Can I ask you to do a compare and contrast? You don't even have to use one of your own fundraising activities in the past, but just a generic Reg D 506C, which is the accredited investor one. How will the terms to the investor be different or the same? So a lot of times, I'll start it off. A lot of times if you do $50,000, $100,000 minimum investment you're offering them 5 to 8% preference. And then hopefully you're going to sell the deal and give them back their money. How's your model going to be different?
Yeah. So because we're investing, it's a fund, not one asset. So 506C would be typically one asset unless you're creating it as a like a fund of funds, but it's almost the same. I mean, a confused mind says no, and we're an education company. So it needs to be clear and easy. So the splits are going to be very similar to what you see. We're going to be very generous from the GP portion, because here's another cool thing. We have what we call ADPI heroes. These are students of ours that are buying hundreds of units a year, multifamily units. They're in our military multifamily academy and mastermind. So there are students that are buying deals, and we do not participate in those deals on purpose. It's your deals. We're going to teach you how to do it, and we'll mentor you through it, but it's your deals. We are not participating. But now with ADPI Capital, the community gets to invest in a fund, and then our coaching students get access to apply for that equity. So the equity is oftentimes the capital raise. The equity is the hard part of the deal. It's especially at the beginning, it's a sludge trying to get through. How do I raise that first million? How do I raise, whatever it is? Yeah. So they can apply, and we have underwriters, and we have a vetting process, and I'm part of the advisory board as well. So we'll vet the deals. We'll have some level of control of the deals also, because we have thousands of units collectively, and we know what we're doing. And so, but imagine now our students who became multifamily syndicators now get an opportunity to invest with their limited partner community, the ADPI community, that is the equity. And so it's this beautiful intersection for the community to invest with one another. And so otherwise though, it's going to be very similar. Great returns, kind of similar, like I would say with any other syndication.
Will it have an end though, or will it be a perpetual hold?
It will have an end, yes. I'm hesitating because we can actually open it back up once it closes. This is a $10 million fund. So we did put a cap on it, but we could close it any time, technically. And then there is a way, I don't know all the details, but actually, Kevin Brenner is mostly taking point. Kevin and Adam are running ADPI Capital, actually. So they could probably tell you more details. But yeah, then Fund 2 will come once we hit the cap on Fund 1. And we don't know right now. We don't know how long it could take 10 minutes or a year to raise. You have a year to keep the fund open, right? Until you do more paperwork, or to raise. But could take a year to raise 10 million. It could take 10 minutes to raise 10 million. We don't know. And because we can't raise capital yet.
Eric, first of all, thank you so much for your service to our country. Thank you for being a servant leader to our military. And in the final minute here before we wrap up, and while we're wrapping up, where can people find you? How do they get more information? Just give us those details.
Yeah, you can reach me at eric@activedutypassiveincome.com. If you're a military member, I'd love to help you get started and just move forward, give you some resources or whatever it takes to get you moving. We have tons and tons and tons. And 90% of what we do is free. Our book is free. We have a credit repair guide that we wrote. It's free on the website. We have first-time homebuyers guide on the website that we wrote. We have so many resources, and our affiliate consultations are free. If it's asset protection or whatever, just go to activedutypassiveincome.com. If you're interested in ADPI Realty, it's adpirealty.com, adpiinsurance.com, adpicapital.com. So it depends on what you want to do. We got you covered if you're a military. On a personal side, check me out, ericupchurch.com. I am a multifamily and storage syndicator. I'm glad to connect and kind of educate people on what that looks like. I started off investing passively. And also on that front, it's not all about me. It's not all about my mission in particular. We are now and have been donating houses to Veterans Community Project. Nice. I have to give them a plug. Wow. We've donated, we've raised around $500,000 in the last couple of years for Veterans Community Project. We just did a 170-mile hike that I organized around Lake Tahoe and raised $190,000.
Nice job.
Yeah. So that was a really big one. That was one of the hardest things I've ever done also. I did train for that. That was 28,000 feet of climb and needed some
How many
training.
people did it with you?
12 signed up, 9 showed up, and 4 finished.
Nice.
Yeah. But everyone who signed up, we all committed to raising $15,000, and we exceeded, $170,000, which was $1,000 per mile hiked was our goal, and we crushed it with $190,000. So, and then last month We just went out and had ADPI Build Day at Veterans Community Project Longmont, Colorado, which is their, I think, 5th project nationwide, building tiny homes in these like 2-acre parcels that are beautiful. They're all slab construction to code, permanent dwellings where a veteran can come and live for a year and a day. And it is all funded privately. There's no government interference or involvement. And there's fire pits, and they have to go see case managers. That's their rent. The rent due for a homeless veteran is to go make sure they see their case managers. And these are not veterans that have drug and alcohol addiction problems that do not want help. These are guys like me who lost my job and I need a place to stay. Could be a few months. It could be a year. Maybe I have my family with me. They have 320 square foot units that will hold a family. And I'm telling you right now, we are going to end veteran homelessness this decade.
Amazing.
Period.
Love it. Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. We cannot wait to see you again. We'll see you at one of the events at GoBundance, and we'll have a lot of fun.
Very soon.
Thank you, buddy.
Man, cheers.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Damn straight. We just got
buddy.
We got to the end of another great show. And everyone listening right now, you're the family and friends. Thanks for staying till the end.
That was so fun. And hey, hit the like, hit subscribe. We're here to serve you guys. That's why we're doing this show. Josh is not paying me. I'm doing this off of my quote unquote sweat equity because we want to make a difference in your life. And then that ripple effect will continue to touch the world.
Hey, amen, brother. Please check us out on capitalhacking.com, all the social media threads. And yes, I know you've probably already sent this episode to one of your best friends. Thank you. We love you. Just go right into your iPhone, hit the plus symbol. We'll talk to you later. See you next week.
Share.